The teachings of the Dalai Lama on the essence of the Dharma offer us a profound map to navigate life's trials and joys, a guide that distills Buddhist philosophy into something accessible, transformative, and deeply personal. At its heart, Dharma isn't just about understanding life, it's about living fully, with compassion and insight, even amidst challenges. It is the truth that underlies all of existence, a truth that, when realized, becomes the path leading to liberation from suffering. This journey isn't just for monks or ascetics, it is a path available to each one of us, leading towards a deeper sense of peace and purpose. Ready to discover the essence of inner peace and enlightenment? Subscribe channel and let the Dharma guide you. 1. The Four Noble Truths, Facing Suffering with Courage. Life, isn't it a beautiful but sometimes painful mystery? The Four Noble Truths offer a gateway to understand this paradox. The Dalai Lama frequently speaks of these truths as fundamental to understanding our human condition and finding genuine happiness. The truth of suffering, dukkha. Life is inherently filled with suffering. The fleeting nature of joy, the inevitability of aging, the uncertainties we all face, these are universal experiences. How often do we chase happiness, only to find it slipping through our fingers? The Dalai Lama invites us to look honestly at our suffering, to recognize that ignoring it only traps us in a cycle of ignorance. The cause of suffering, samadaya. Why do we suffer? The answer lies in our cravings, in our attachment to things that are ever-changing. How often do we cling to material goods, to relationships, expecting them to provide lasting happiness? The Dalai Lama encourages us to examine our own desires, to see that they arise from an ignorance of reality, an illusion that keeps us running after mirages. The cessation of suffering, nirodha. Is freedom from suffering possible? The Dalai Lama says it is. Imagine a state where craving and ignorance no longer dictate your every action. This state of true freedom, nirvana, isn't something mystical or beyond reach. It is about realizing inner peace, here and now, through mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. The path to the cessation of suffering, Magga. The Eightfold Path is our compass for navigating away from suffering. Think of it as a toolkit for living, a practical, step-by-step approach to develop ethical behavior, disciplined mind, and insightful understanding. 2. The Eightfold Path, a roadmap for liberation. The Eightfold Path is like a bridge. It connects the theory of Dharma to the reality of our daily lives. The Dalai Lama often presents it in three parts: wisdom, ethical conduct, and mental discipline. How can we bring these teachings into our lives? Wisdom, prajna. Right understanding invites us to see life clearly, to understand that everything is interconnected and impermanent. Have you ever felt the fleeting nature of a moment, a sunset, a smile, and wished it could last forever? Right understanding teaches us to accept impermanence, to see beauty in its transience. Right intent encourages us to approach the world with benevolence, fostering intentions that lead not just to personal gain but to the well-being of others. Ethical conduct, sila. How do our actions shape our world? The Dalai Lama emphasizes right speech, using words that heal rather than hurt, that connect rather than divide. Right action asks us to refrain from behaviors that harm others, cultivating compassion in everything we do. And right livelihood urges us to pursue professions that bring value to others, reminding us that work isn't just about making a living, it's about making a difference. Mental discipline, samadhi. Cultivating the mind is at the heart of the path. Right effort is about consciously nurturing positive states of mind, compassion, patience, joy, while letting go of negativity. Right mindfulness is the art of being present, of living each moment fully. And right concentration brings our wandering mind to stillness, allowing us to see reality as it truly is. The Dalai Lama often points out that these elements are not separate, they form an interconnected whole, each supporting the other in our quest for liberation. 3. Compassion and bodhicitta, the heartbeat of Dharma. What does it mean to truly care for others? Compassion, not as a fleeting emotion but as a deep commitment, lies at the very center of the Dalai Lama's teachings. Bodhisattva, the aspiration to attain enlightenment for the sake of all beings, reminds us that our journey is not a solitary one. How different would the world be if each of us committed, even just a little, to alleviate the suffering of others? To live with Bodhisattva is to transcend the narrow confines of the ego, to expand our heart until it encompasses all beings. 4. Meditation, the inner laboratory. Meditation, according to the Dalai Lama, is the transformative tool that turns knowledge into lived experience. It's one thing to intellectually grasp the concept of impermanence, it's quite another to feel it deeply, to live it. Through analytical meditation, we explore life's truths, we ask, we reflect, we internalize. Through concentration meditation, we find the stillness that allows true insight to arise. How often do we rush through life, reacting to everything without pausing to understand? Meditation gives us that pause, that space where true transformation can happen. 5. Interdependent origination, we are all connected. Is anything truly separate? The concept of interdependent origination teaches us that everything exists in relation to everything else, nothing stands alone. Imagine a world where we understood this deeply, where we realized that harming another is, in some way, harming ourselves. This profound interconnectedness dismantles the illusion of a fixed, isolated self. It reveals a reality where compassion becomes not just a virtue, but a necessity for our survival and well-being. The Dalai Lama often uses the metaphor of a web to explain interdependence. Imagine an intricate spider's web, each thread connected to the others. When one part of the web moves, the entire structure shifts. Our actions, no matter how small, have ripple effects that touch others' lives. Recognizing this interconnectedness encourages us to live with greater awareness and compassion. When we see others not as separate, but as part of our extended self, our motivation to help them naturally grows. 6. Ethics as the bedrock of practice. The Dalai Lama often reminds us that ethical conduct is not about following rules but about creating the conditions for a peaceful mind. Have you noticed how acts of kindness leave a lasting imprint on your heart? The 5 precepts, guidelines to abstain from harming others, from lying, from selfish indulgence, are not restrictive. They are liberating, creating a stable foundation from which wisdom and compassion can flourish. Ethics are like the fertile soil in which the seeds of wisdom and insight grow. Without a foundation of ethical conduct, the mind remains restless, filled with regret or guilt. When we commit to ethical living, we create a space for the mind to settle, allowing deeper truths to emerge. The Dalai Lama emphasizes that ethics are not an end in themselves but a means to support spiritual growth. They help purify the mind, making it receptive to meditation and wisdom. 7. The goal, enlightenment for all. What is the ultimate goal of this journey? It is enlightenment, a state of profound transformation, where ignorance, attachment, and aversion are replaced by wisdom and boundless compassion. The Dalai Lama assures us that enlightenment is not reserved for the chosen few, it is available to each one of us, here and now, through persistent effort, self-reflection, and love for all beings. It is the realization of who we truly are, not separate, not alone, but deeply connected to the world around us. Enlightenment is often described as the culmination of the path, but it is also the beginning of a new way of being. Imagine a life where your actions are no longer driven by fear, desire, or aversion, but by wisdom and love. This is the promise of enlightenment, a freedom that transcends the ups and downs of daily existence. The Dalai Lama teaches that enlightenment is not an escape from the world but a way to engage with it more fully, with clarity and compassion. 8. Applying Dharma in daily life, practical wisdom. The teachings of the Dharma are not confined to monasteries or meditation retreats, they are meant to be lived in the midst of our everyday lives. How can we apply these teachings while navigating the complexities of work, relationships, and society? One of the key principles the Dalai Lama emphasizes is mindfulness in action. This means bringing awareness to everything we do, whether it's a mundane task like washing dishes or a significant decision at work. By being fully present, we transform ordinary activities into opportunities for growth. Each moment becomes a chance to practice compassion, patience, and wisdom. Consider the practice of right speech. In our daily interactions, words have the power to uplift or to wound. The Dalai Lama encourages us to speak with intention, to use our words as tools for connection and healing. Before speaking, we can ask ourselves, is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind? This simple practice can transform our relationships, fostering deeper trust and understanding. Another practical aspect of Dharma is right livelihood. In a world driven by competition and consumerism, how do we choose a path that aligns with our values? The Dalai Lama suggests that our work should not only provide for our material needs but also contribute positively to society. This doesn't mean we all need to become social workers or monks, but it does mean reflecting on how our work impacts others. Are we contributing to the well-being of others, or are we causing harm? By aligning our livelihood with our ethical values, we create a sense of purpose that goes beyond personal gain. 9. Overcoming challenges on the path. The journey of Dharma is not without its challenges. There will be moments of doubt, times when old habits resurface, and periods when progress feels slow. The Dalai Lama often speaks about the importance of patience and perseverance in the face of these challenges. Spiritual growth is not a linear process. It requires us to face our own shadows, to confront the parts of ourselves that we would rather ignore. One of the biggest obstacles on the path is attachment. We are conditioned to seek security in the things we possess, relationships, material goods, even our own identities. Letting go of attachment doesn't mean renouncing all that we love, it means holding them with an open hand, understanding their impermanent nature. The Dalai Lama teaches that true freedom comes not from clinging but from letting go, from appreciating the beauty of life without trying to possess it. Another challenge is dealing with difficult emotions, such as anger, jealousy, or fear. The Dalai Lama encourages us to meet these emotions with mindfulness and compassion. Instead of suppressing them or acting on them impulsively, we can observe them, understand their root causes, and transform them. For example, anger often arises from a sense of threat or unmet needs. By understanding its source, we can respond in a way that is constructive rather than destructive. 10. The role of community, Sangha. The path of Dharma is often walked in the company of others. The Dalai Lama emphasizes the importance of Sangha, or spiritual community, as a source of support and inspiration. In a world that often values individualism, the Sangha reminds us that we are not alone. We are part of a greater whole, and our progress is intertwined with the progress of others. A supportive community provides a space where we can share our experiences, learn from others, and receive encouragement during difficult times. It is a place where we can practice compassion, patience, and generosity, qualities that are essential for spiritual growth. The Dalai Lama often speaks of the importance of surrounding ourselves with like-minded individuals who uplift and inspire us. By being part of a community, we are reminded of our shared humanity and our collective potential for transformation. 11. The power of compassion, transforming the world. Compassion is not just a personal virtue, it is a force that can transform the world. The Dalai Lama often speaks of universal responsibility, the idea that we all have a role to play in creating a more just and compassionate society. When we cultivate compassion within ourselves, we contribute to the collective well-being of all beings. Imagine a world where compassion guides our actions, where leaders prioritize the well-being of their people, where businesses operate with a sense of social responsibility, where individuals look out for one another. The Dalai Lama believes that such a world is possible, but it begins with each of us. By practicing compassion in our daily lives, we become agents of positive change, inspiring others to do the same. The practice of engaged Buddhism is one way to bring compassion into the world. Engaged Buddhism involves applying the principles of Dharma to address social, economic, and environmental issues. It is about taking action to alleviate suffering, whether through volunteer work, activism, or simply being a voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. The Dalai Lama encourages us to use our unique skills and talents to make a difference, reminding us that every action, no matter how small, has the potential to create positive change. 12. The Dalai Lama's vision for humanity. The Dalai Lama's vision for humanity is one of peace, harmony, and shared prosperity. He often speaks of the need for a secular ethics that transcends religious boundaries, an ethical framework based on our shared humanity in the values of compassion, kindness, and respect. In a world that is increasingly divided, the Dalai Lama's message is a call to recognize our common ground, to see beyond the differences of nationality, religion, or ideology. He believes that education is key to creating a more compassionate world. By teaching children the values of empathy, cooperation, and emotional intelligence, we can nurture a new generation of individuals who are not only intellectually capable but also morally grounded. The Dalai Lama often emphasizes the importance of emotional hygiene. Just as we take care of our physical health, we must also take care of our emotional well-being. This involves cultivating positive emotions, managing stress, and developing resilience in the face of challenges. 13. The role of wisdom, seeing clearly. Wisdom, in the context of Dharma, is not merely intellectual knowledge, it is a deep understanding of the nature of reality. The Dalai Lama often speaks of prajna, or wisdom, as the key to liberation. Wisdom allows us to see through the illusions that keep us bound, the illusion of a permanent self, the illusion of separateness, the illusion of lasting happiness in material pursuits. The cultivation of wisdom begins with right understanding. This involves studying the teachings, reflecting on them, and applying them in our lives. But true wisdom goes beyond conceptual understanding. It is an experiential realization that transforms how we perceive ourselves and the world. The Dalai Lama encourages us to question our assumptions, to look deeply into the nature of our experiences, and to cultivate a curiosity that leads to insight. One of the profound insights that arises from wisdom is the understanding of emptiness, shunyata. Emptiness does not mean that nothing exists, rather, it means that things do not exist in the way we usually perceive them, as fixed, independent entities. Everything is in a state of constant change, arising due to causes and conditions. By understanding emptiness, we free ourselves from rigid attachments and open ourselves to the fluid, dynamic nature of reality. 14. The middle way, balancing extremes. The middle way is a core principle of Buddhist practice, emphasizing balance and moderation. The Dalai Lama often speaks of the middle way not only in terms of personal practice but also as a guiding principle for resolving conflicts and creating harmony in society. The middle way involves avoiding the extremes of indulgence and asceticism, finding a balanced approach that supports well-being and spiritual growth. In our daily lives, the middle way can be applied in many ways. It encourages us to find a balance between work and rest, between effort and relaxation, between self-care and caring for others. The Dalai Lama teaches that true happiness lies not in excess but in balance, in knowing when to act and when to let go, when to speak and when to remain silent. By embracing the middle way, we cultivate a sense of equilibrium that allows us to navigate the complexities of life with grace and wisdom. 15. The practice of joy, celebrating life. While the Dharma often speaks of suffering, it also emphasizes the importance of joy. The Dalai Lama frequently speaks of the need to cultivate mudita, or sympathetic joy, the ability to rejoice in the happiness and success of others. Joy is not just an emotion, it is a practice, a way of approaching life that allows us to appreciate the beauty and wonder that exists all around us. The Dalai Lama encourages us to find joy in simple things, in nature, in meaningful connections, in acts of kindness. Joy is a powerful antidote to the negativity that often pervades our minds. By focusing on what is good and beautiful, we create a positive mental environment that supports our spiritual growth. Joy also helps us to remain resilient in the face of challenges, reminding us that even amidst suffering, there is always something to be grateful for. Conclusion. The teachings of the Dalai Lama on the essence of the Dharma invite us to transform ourselves and, by doing so, transform the world. Compassion, ethical conduct, mindfulness, these are not abstract ideals but practical tools that lead us to inner peace. The journey to enlightenment is a journey we take not just for ourselves but for all beings. So, what if we each took a step today, a step towards greater awareness, a step towards compassion? The path of Dharma reminds us that, ultimately, we all share the same potential for wisdom, for loving kindness, for liberation. Let us walk this path together, with courage and an open heart, striving not just for our own happiness, but for the happiness of all beings. The Dharma is not a destination but a journey of awakening, of opening our hearts, of realizing our interconnectedness. And as we walk this path, may we be guided by the words of the Dalai Lama, be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. May we embrace the Dharma as a lifelong commitment, not only to transform our own suffering into wisdom but to alleviate the suffering of others. The real test of these teachings is not in what we understand intellectually, but in how we live them in every moment of our daily lives. Every breath, every word, every thought becomes an opportunity to practice the Dharma, to cultivate a mind that is calm, compassionate, and wise. The Dalai Lama often reminds us that we are all interconnected, our happiness is linked with the happiness of others. When we understand this interconnectedness, compassion arises naturally. We begin to see that our actions matter, that even the smallest gesture of kindness can have a profound impact. It is this understanding that motivates us to keep practicing, even when the path is challenging. Each of us has the potential to be a source of light in the world. The teachings of the Dharma encourage us to let go of our fears, to open our hearts, and to live with the courage of compassion. This is not always easy. There will be times when we feel overwhelmed, when our patience is tested, when our resolve falters. But these are the moments when our practice truly matters, when we can choose to respond with love rather than fear, with understanding rather than judgment. Imagine what the world could be like if each of us made this choice, even just a little more often. Imagine a world where compassion is the guiding principle in our families, our communities, our workplaces. This vision is not a utopia, it is a possibility that we can create, step by step, moment by moment, through our own actions. The Dalai Lama's message is ultimately one of hope. He believes in the goodness of humanity, in our capacity to grow, to change, to create a better world. And this hope is not passive, it is an active, engaged hope that calls each of us to participate in the work of transformation. It is a hope that challenges us to look beyond our own comfort, to see the suffering of others, and to do what we can to help. In this way, the path of the Dharma is not only a path to personal liberation but a path to collective awakening. It is about realizing our true nature, which is not separate, not isolated, but deeply connected to all of life. It is about understanding that our happiness and the happiness of others are not two different things, but two sides of the same coin. As we conclude this exploration of the Dharma, let us remember that the journey is ongoing. There is always more to learn, more to understand, more to practice. The path of awakening is not a straight line, it is a spiral that deepens over time, bringing us closer to the truth of who we are. And as we walk this path, may we do so with an open heart, with a spirit of curiosity and wonder, and with a deep commitment to the well-being of all beings. The essence of the Dharma is simple yet profound. It is about transforming our own hearts and minds so that we can contribute to the transformation of the world. It is about living with kindness, with compassion, with wisdom. It is about recognizing our shared humanity and working together to create a world where all beings can thrive. And it is about finding joy in the journey, in each step we take, in each moment of awareness, in each act of love. May we all find the courage to walk this path, to live the Dharma, and to be a light for others. May our lives be a reflection of the teachings, and may we inspire others to do the same. The journey is long, but we do not walk it alone. Together, with the guidance of the Dharma, we can create a world that is more just, more compassionate, and more peaceful. Let us begin today, with a single step, with a single breath, with a single act of kindness. And let us remember that each moment is an opportunity to awaken, to grow, to love. This is the essence of the Dharma, a journey towards inner peace, towards enlightenment, towards a world where all beings are free from suffering and filled with joy. May it be so.